And we are now brought to you by the man of the hour right here on Morning Kombat, brought to you by CBS Sports. He just defeated Conor McGregor at UFC 257 in the second round. Can you believe it? Just a fantastic performance. It's the one and only Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Dustin, appreciate you making some time. First question right off the bat. Has your life changed overnight with a win like this?
No, it's the same. I'm back home in Louisiana. Definitely more people reaching out, a lot more interview requests, a lot more people asking for things, but life's the same.
Okay, let's talk about fight night. When I imagine that after you lost in your initial bout with him, you wanted a second chance. But at some point during the course of the years, there must have been an image in your head about how it would go and how it would look, and more importantly, how it would feel to get the win. Did it match any of those expectations? What was it like relative to how you had told the story in your mind?
I'm not a guy I'm not the Mystic Mac kind of guy. I don't sit back and say, for sure, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to knock this guy out. I'm going to submit this guy. I'm a realist with an approach to the fight. I know that a lot of scenarios could play out. I know that it's going to be trying in there. I know it's going to be uncomfortable, but I just try to visualize being the victor, getting my hand raised, and being in the moment, prepared for whatever presents itself that night. And that's what happened. You know, an opportunity presented itself. I took advantage of it, got my hand raised. That's when I sit back and lay in bed during training camp. That's what I imagine is just being in the moment and getting my hand raised.
Did you accomplished what you wanted because you got the win, and you got the win emphatically. But when it was over, did you feel like, I don't know, how did you feel? Like when you're walking back to the locker room and you're sitting there and now it's beginning to dawn on you, what was going through your head?
Just happy that I was healthy. You know, I always want to exit that octagon healthy and get back to my daughter and family healthy as I can be. But of course I was happy and grateful for the opportunity and excited to have pulled the trigger and executed the game plan and executed my performance. Everything lined up. You know, I had a great training camp. My weight cut was good. I felt great when I got into the octagon, and I just felt good. It was a great night. Great night. I was smiling ear to ear on that flight back to America.
What did Mike Brown say? What was his feedback?
He's proud of me. He's excited. He knows he kind of doesn't want me in these kind of firefights, you know, whenever I hurt Conor and I go in for the kill. But it's the same thing, you know, after so many fights like this, he comes up to me and he's hitting me on the chest and telling me, you crazy bastard, you did it again. And I'm like, yeah, I know, man. I am a crazy bastard. You're right.
You know, this victory is kind of interesting if you think about it, Dustin, at least from my vantage point, which is, on the one hand, this was a really triumphant moment for you, right? You beat a guy who previously had beaten you. You should have had a title on the line, which we'll talk about in just a second. But either way, it was, you know, a very important fight for the division and for your career. And yet, if you look at your lightweight fights, certainly the ones that you got your hand raised in, it was one of your easier ones, actually. I mean, you faced more adversity, I think, in the Gaethje one, or maybe even both Alvarez fights. Were you surprised that, you know, Conor landed his shots, but it went fairly smooth?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time I haven't had stitches in a I don't know how long, or haven't had, you know, my eyeball blood shot inside of it or anything really. I had a couple marks. My right eye had a slight bit of bruising that was gone in a few days. I took no damage in this fight.
Especially
coming off of a fight like my previous fight before this was the Hooker fight, and I mean that was, you know, I was in pain for a few days after that one. So to have a fight like that and then have such a huge test in front of you and come out pretty much unscathed, it feels good.
What's the most physical pain you've ever been in after a fight? Not emotional or whatever, but win or lose, but like outright physical pain.
It's a toss-up between the Gaethje fight and the Jim Miller fight, because Jim Miller attacked my calf, and I had to go to the hospital. My leg was swelling really bad. There was nowhere for the swelling to go. They wanted to cut my leg open to relieve the pressure. That was really uncomfortable, but Gaethje, the pain lasted the longest. It was because I had a partially torn quad.
Jesus. All right. Well, let's get to the fight itself. You know, what's kind of interesting is once you had invested in the leg kicks, but I did the timing on this. Once you landed that leg kick and then right hook if not combo, but certainly in succession, and then you turned, and now his back was along the fence line, and then you began to unload. It was only about 10 or 12 seconds. Were you, I got to say, like when he went down like a ton of bricks. Were you surprised by that?
Man, I can punch. I'm surprised it took this long to stop somebody. I don't know who I knocked out previously before this, but no, I'm not surprised. I do this often. I hurt guys in the gym. I know I can punch. I've been doing this a long time, but going into that kill mode, you have to be careful with these elite guys. You know, they're dangerous when they're healthy, but when you get them hurt, get them against the fence on their last leg, they're even more dangerous. Especially somebody who, with the punching power and the timing of Conor, you leave yourself open trying to finish them against the fence, and you wake up asking what happened. So that's always on the back of your mind. But man, I'm like Mike Brown says, I'm one of the man. When I smell blood and I know you're hurt, if I see a chink in the armor, I'm going in.
What were you most? I'm going to use the word worry here. I don't mean worry as in like you couldn't sleep at night, but at least what were you thinking about? What were you most worried about in terms of what Conor may do before the fight?
I wasn't worried about anything with that stuff.
No, you didn't even think like, okay, I got to really watch out for X, or I got to make sure about Y. Nothing like that.
Well, I mean, his counter two was a big focus of this training camp. We knew he has one of the best pull twos, and his timing and speed and accuracy is incredible. I mean, you can see his track record of what he's done with that left hand. Let me see. Thinking of that, not being too heavy on my jab, because he does a great job at countering over the top of the jab and using that rhythm to really let guys set themselves up, really, and staying light on my feet. Those were things that I knew I had to be on top of.
So the first round, I thought you played a really smart move there by going for the takedown. Was that improv or was that planned the whole way through? We're going to go for a takedown here, first round, press him against the fence, kind of drain him a little bit.
We wanted to definitely go for takedowns when they were available or in front of us. We didn't want to be reaching for anything or force things that weren't there. And getting a takedown right off the bat wasn't the game plan. But the scenario, and I saw his hips, and maybe I missed a punch. I don't know exactly how I got to his legs, but it was there, and I went for it, and succeeded pretty easily. It wasn't a struggle to get him down there. I think I just switched over and tripped him, and yeah. But the game plan was to be a mixed martial artist and use my kicks, wrestling, my jiu-jitsu to keep switching it up and use every facet of mixed martial arts to show my full arsenal. And we thought we would chip it away, keep chipping until we had an opportunity to finish the fight.
Your first fight with him was so short. I don't know how I'd be curious to get your answer to this one. Did his power carry from 145 to 155 in the way that you thought it might?
I mean, I know he can punch, and I felt his power, but to compare it to the first fight is hard because I got hit with a shot on the side of the head that really took my legs away from me. And the way your body's positioned when you receive these shots has a lot to do with the guy's punch, as much to do with the guy's punching power. I feel like if your body's in position to take a shot, or if you're out of position to take a shot, that can make or break that punch. You might be able to, if you're set and ready for a shot, that same shot might put you out if you're not. So it's hard to say, man. I don't really know. But the guy is fast and can punch for sure.
Yeah, I mean, in other words, it felt on par with some of the, bigger punches or big punches you've taken from other elite lightweights, something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the guy's up there when it comes to speed and punching power.
Yeah, well,
with the guys that I fought.
Yeah, there's just a lot of questions now about at 155 from the media side of things, like what it all means for him going forward. But something
sure
different.
If he continues to fight at 55, he'll knock some guys out at 55. I'm sure of it. Maybe my ability to recognize and to flow with the impact and to allow my body to receive the shots, and also my durability might be a lot better now. I think moving up in weight, having a healthier body, taking less damage in practice as well. I don't spar all year, and I'm not crazy when I do spar, I think is a huge part of it as well. But seeing the shots and reacting to them and receiving them is important as well. And I think I've evolved my game with that part.
There's been a ton of conversation about the leg kick, but and which I'm not denying played a significant role, a massive role, maybe the most important role. But I also feel like there's a conversation about your boxing that deserves to be had here. That counter right hand you had was stinging him all night long. In fact, it was the shot that eventually, in combination, turned him around. Was there a point? I know you pointed at him several times, but was there a point in at least in your mind maybe where you thought like, dude, I've got this guy's timing down. I mean, I can see everything coming.
I remember sitting on the stool between the first and second round thinking this is going to, every second off this clock is going to be worse for this guy. I just felt in the moment, and I knew I was landing. He was kind of, use the right words to put it. He was pointing at just kind of, I got this timing. Like, you're trying to take me out, but I'm not in here for a one punch type of night. I'm in here to win.
It was kind of interesting to me was, I mean, I'm not saying the situations were identical, but there is a weird similarity, man, because the punch, that right hook you kept landing where he's throwing that kind of uppercut across his body like that, it was the punch that you suffered against Michael Johnson. It was like a weird, like your everything had come full circle. I wonder, did you recognize or think about that in any way?
Not during the fight, no, but I definitely, now that you mention it, can see what you're saying, which is a horrible position to be in when you're taking a shot. To be your weight off of your feet, chin in the air, body twisted. Whenever you get hit in that position, I mean, your brain is getting the full whip. There's nowhere for the rest of that blow to travel through the rest of your body. Your neck and brain is getting all of that when you're out of position like that. Very dangerous. You see it happen a lot when two guys throw hooks at the same time. One always gets it really bad. It's because your body is torqued and not into position to receive that shot. It's so important. So important. But you see a guy like Justin Gaethje who can take these damaging shots from guys and walk forward. It's because his body's ready for the shot. It travels through his, not just his brain. It travels through his neck, body, down to his feet. He's in position to go. I think that's so important when getting hit.
Yeah, like a Carlos Condit, Dan Hardy situation.
There you go. And that's just, we see it all the time when two guys throw hooks together. One guy gets hit with the hook, doesn't phase him. One guy, it looks like he's got shot by a sniper. And that's just it. Your body's out of position. You're torqued. Your brain and neck and muscles aren't ready for that impact and that jolt, and it'll turn you off. Not saying that Conor got turned off, but he was definitely out of position whenever that right hand landed before I tried to finish him.
Close the show. And you were referencing at the end the fight with Yoel Romero and Luke Rockhold because you hit him with the right and he kind of stumbled back, and then you loaded up, I think, another right hand, and that was the one that closed the show, right?
Yeah, so I hit him and hurt him, and he kind of went down to his butt, and as soon as his ass hit the ground, I connected again, clean on the jaw, and I think that put him out. And then his body kind of slumped over, and of course I'm not going to stop until the ref pulls me off. This is what we do. And so when I was going to hit him with this left hand, I can tell that he wasn't really responding, and I thought the fight was over. But it just, in that moment, reminded me of when Luke Rockhold was against the fence and kind of defenseless, and he got clipped. Again, I just remember his body kind of being slumped over like that, and I felt like that was kind of the same scenario.
There's been some interesting discussion made of some of the things about him that I would be curious to get your response to. One was his stance. There was a lot of argument online about has his stance changed. Now, full disclosure, I do think that it wasn't exactly the one he used on you the first time. I think over time there's been some evolution, but I also feel like a lot of it is just circumstantial. Like that sort of long stance he uses is a lot of against right-handers, not against a fellow southpaw. I don't know. What do you make of it?
I think that's a lot of reaching and a lot of people trying to find a reason why I beat the guy. And the reason is because I have 40-something mixed martial arts fights, and I dedicated my life to being the best fighter that I can be. So whenever I see people questioning that, or, if Conor would have went out there and knocked me out, those same people who are saying this or that or anything, negative would be saying that's the best he's ever looked, and he's evolved his game, and his stance looked incredible. And, so I don't play into all that stuff. It was a fist fight and I won. Luke, I don't play a whole lot into that of the good or the bad, reading into his stance change and switch. And I mean,
But
we
what I
fought.
guess I guess I guess what I'm saying is, did he feel different to you in terms of how he moved once versus how he moved a second time?
No, I felt different.
In what
I
way?
felt different. Um, Understanding range and timing, understanding the danger of fighting him, my understanding my abilities and my threats to him. I felt different.
Hmm. The other one is obviously the leg kick is sort of a big component of it, but the time off was one that got brought up a lot, including by Conor immediately. That the guy's just sort of in and out and blah blah blah, and maybe he needs a little bit more
Maybe
reps to get back to his normal self. I'm somewhat sympathetic to that, right? It is better to be on a schedule than not. I wonder what you make of that.
for sure. I mean, you get better under pressure in the fire, and maybe it did, but I mean, we both fought once last year.
Right, and but then again, though, his was 40 seconds, yours was almost 30 minutes.
And he looked phenomenal.
He did. He certainly did.
It was 40 seconds because he took someone out. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
No,
I
no
said,
doubt about
I'm
it.
not reaching too far here about inactivity, about this and that. I'm the victor. I knocked the guy out. Nobody's done it. Got my hand raised. It was a fist fight.
Let's talk about what the impact is for your career with this win.
And I'm
For
not trying
me,
to
it
be
took.
I'm not trying to be short with you here or anything like that. I just always find no matter what I do in my career, people want to just throw salt somehow. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying
Right.
everybody is the whole reason, like parts of this stuff that I hate this whole thing. I only like fighting, Luke. Fighting's the only part that I like about this whole process and this whole mixed martial arts thing now because everybody's an expert. Everybody's a body language expert. Everybody's a coach. Everybody's a technician on everything. Everybody has something to say. And I'm the man in the arena spilling blood. So that's I'm not trying to be short with you on these things. I'm just so tired of the years. Been doing this a long time, man. Just tired of everybody having a reason why I won or a reason why I lost or this and that. I know the reason. It's because I fucking work hard and I'm a hell of a fighter.
Well, don't worry. I did not think you were being short, and I certainly feel like you're entitled to that position, which brings us actually perfectly to the point about now we're assessing what it all means. For me, cards on the table. I'll say it again. You had certainly been in a space where you were definitely one of the best lightweights I've ever covered for my generation. But now I'm looking around and I'm saying to myself, well, wait a second. We're talking about one of the all-time great lightweights here, right? Don't you feel like this win? You never want to pin it on one win. I get it, but there are pivotal moments in people's careers where they do turn corners. This was a big one.
Huge, huge. I mean, to have that performance against one of the biggest names in combat sports, not just it makes sense. I'll know, and I'll be ready to go. But until then, I'm being dad. I'm selling hot sauce. I'm running the foundation, and I have a lot of other things I'm working on.
Speaking of which, the hot sauce.
But
I wonder.
but through all that, I am training. I am training, and I am remaining a student of jiu-jitsu and boxing and kickboxing and wrestling. I'm always working on my game.
Fair enough. I do wonder about the jiu-jitsu. Oh, sorry, not jiu-jitsu. The hot sauce. You
Guillotine?
partnered with a legitimate company. Has it gone? Like, first of all, how did this come together? I mean, because it's a sort of like a what would you call them? Like something like a boutique shop. Like they don't make stuff for mass production. They make it for like hot sauce
Quality.
heads.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Very high quality, very well done. And I'm happy to team up with Heartbeat. It happened during the pandemic, the initial stay at home phase of the pandemic last year, probably around Marchish. I was stuck at home and I've always wanted to get into the culinary world and spoke to an agent of mine about doing some hot sauce. We started reaching out to companies. Crazy thing is he brought Heartbeat up to me and I have 2 bottles of their sauce in my cabinet already. So I'm familiar with the company. This was because a few seasons ago, I bought all 10 sauces. Me and a buddy ate all 10 sauces. And during that season, Heartbeat had a sauce on the show. So I had 2 bottles of their sauce here, and I really liked it. So when I started looking into it and knowing that they ferment their peppers in small batches, and just the quality control that Al and his team have there. When they showed interest in working with me, it just really seemed like a good fit. And he was all ears about anything I brought to the table, and he helped me narrow down the ingredients that we were going to use and everything, man. They're incredible partnership with these guys.
So is there a plan for like more things like this, or what's the goal here?
The goal for me with Poirier's Louisiana style is to turn Poirier's Louisiana style into a brand in the culinary world. And then under that brand, have a hot sauce, have a Creole seasoning, have a barbecue sauce, have a few other things, some dry rubs, and really get us a place in the spice racks in the world, in the culinary. Just to be an actual name, Poirier's to be an actual staple in cooking. And I think we can. Hot sauce is going great, and we'll see. We'll just take it one step at a time.
Well, I enjoyed it legitimately. It was quite tasty, and so I encourage everyone to go at least give it a try, see if they like it. I'll put a link to it in the description box below here. So, Dustin, I won't keep you any longer.
I'm sorry to keep interrupting you. The bottles that you have, or that are on the way, I believe, are the newest batch, and this is going to be how it's cooked from here on out. So the flavor profile is pretty much still the exact same. It's a little bit more cayenne, just because it's fermented a little bit longer with this new mash we have. But the seeds and pulp issue is completely gone. Of course, it's not processed at all, and it's all natural. So you're still going to have some seeds and pulp in there, but the clogging is a thing of the past. You won't see that in any of the new bottles coming off of the production line.
No worries. Look forward to it just the same. Congratulations on a major win. Thank you for making some time for us. And I hope you're not on the shelf too long, but you've earned it, and can't wait to see what happens when you come back.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.